Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, navigating the human experience together.
Hafide, Tiro, and welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and we are continuing our series interviewing former Peace Corps volunteers who served here in the Marianas. And our guest today is Kurt Barnes. Kurt, welcome back.
Well, thank
home.
you very, very much. I'm really happy to be here. This is my home.
Yeah.
It's my real home. I've spent 40 years here, so I'm really happy to come back whenever I have a chance.
Now, you first got here in 1966, I think it was?
That's correct.
How did you end up here in Saipan?
Well, it's kind of a strange story. I graduated from San Francisco State with a BA in physical education, and my best friend then wanted to join the Peace Corps, and he wanted both of us to go to Africa. Well, I didn't want to go to Africa, but I didn't want to say no either. But one day, near graduation, he came in. We always sit in the library to study, and he came in the library and said, "You can't come with me to Africa," thinking I would be disappointed. I was elated. And I said, "Okay, that's okay. I'll find another country to go to." But as I was walking in one day, a couple days later, walking into the library, I saw this brochure. It's this one right here, and it says Peace Corps goes to Micronesia. And I've always had a picture of the South Pacific in the back of my head, and I couldn't get the brochure and the application off that rack fast enough to fill it out. I sent it in, and within a week I was accepted in the Peace Corps. No tests or anything. I was accepted. My physical education background was all-inclusive. And then I was assigned to Saipan. I don't think I would have survived in Outer Island Marshalls or Ponape or whatever. I don't think so. And I'm not downplaying that, but I'm really a picky eater. And then I had a choice of training. I took the second training in Miami Beach, and which started in November of '66, and we landed here on Saipan January 1967. So that's how I got here.
And you say that when you came, it wasn't a huge adjustment for you. You kind of found where you fit in pretty easily?
Well, that's 99% true. However, when our plane landed in Guam, and all the single men had to go to a naval barracks someplace. I don't know where it was. I still don't know where it is. And we were given some bunks, and we had sheets over us, but the mosquitoes were just atrocious. And I mean, you're doing this all night long. I go, wait a minute, 2 years of this? I don't know if I'm going to handle this or not. But pretty soon a naval gentleman came by and sprayed all of us with some kind of spray, and the mosquitoes ran away. So we got through that night, and then the next morning we came to Saipan, and ever since I've had a good time here.
Well, obviously, because you've made it your home.
Yeah.
Your host family was Felix Rebalaman in Olei. Tell us about your experience.
Well, Felix was our language teacher, teaching Chamorro to us in Miami Beach. And we just gravitated to each other. And he, between training and coming to Saipan, he stayed at my house near San Francisco, and I took him all over the place. And all Felix wanted to do was watch the James Bond movies on Market Street at San Francisco. So we went up there and we spent all day. I think we watched 5 James Bonds movies
So that was before you came to
That was
Saipan. You'd
before we
already
came
met
here.
him.
Yeah, we stayed
Oh.
1 week with
What
my
did he
family.
What did he tell you about Saipan? Because you know how us locals, we like to like fagaga, give a little, stretch the truth a little bit sometimes, pull your leg.
That's not Felix.
No.
Felix told us the truth and all that.
What did he?
Yeah, but you know, he laid the groundwork. It was whatever he said was true, but a lot of it you had to figure it out for yourself. So he was there. His family was there. Oh, everybody on Saipan was a resource, and you could go to anybody and talk to them and ask them questions. And that was the beauty of Saipan, or the Marianas, was ask questions and you get a good answer from them. So, but yeah, I had a good time with the Rebalman family. So.
What was life like in the village back then compared to what it is today? Maybe start with the feeling. Is the feeling of living in a village today the same?
Well, first of all, I didn't stay with Felix's family.
Okay.
I mean, they just checked on me regularly.
Yeah.
There were 4 single males in my group, and the 4 of us had a house in District 1. And for people who don't know where District 1 is the eastern part of Shalankanoa village. And we had a house there, and we had 4 bedrooms, and we each had a bedroom. And it worked out fine. We cooked our own food, and it was an easy walk. For me, I was at Shalankanoa Elementary School. It was an easy walk to the CK. And a couple of the other ones taught at Hopwood High School. And one of them was a lawyer, and he didn't have far to go to be a lawyer wherever he was assigned. But we had a lot of people. Governor Palacios lived across the street from us.
Really?
And yesterday in our meeting, he was telling everybody about me and everybody that was living in our house. And I kept saying, Governor, I don't drink, so if there were big parties, it wasn't me.
It was one of the other guys.
Yeah, it was one of the other guys. Yeah, oh, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
They were good people, and they were really low key. So anyway.
What was the feeling of being part of a village community in Saipan back in those days, late 60s?
You know, they took right to us. They, the district commissioner, and again, I won't use names because it's just something you're not supposed to do, and I'm not going to do it. But district commissioner for District 1 came to our house one day and asked us to help plan for the religious ceremony for District 1.
A fiesta, maybe?
Yeah, the fiesta, and that if we would do, if we would plan all the games, fun and games.
Nice.
And so the 4 of us got together, and we came up with sack races and 3-legged races and hula hoops and all this kind of stuff. And then we met with him, and we gave him all this, and he stared at us like we were from Mars. And he goes, "No, that's not what we do at fiestas." Well, we didn't know.
Yeah.
So he said, "Thank you, but we'll go a different direction." So they had the things they wanted to do, which was fine. We learned from that.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't want to do what we wanted to do, which was fine. We didn't have a problem with that. But that was funny. I always still think about it today. And
Yeah.
you know, they asked us to do something, and they didn't like what we said.
I mean, you can imagine, like, that was a real cross-cultural experience right there, because you can imagine somebody never hearing of a 3-legged race, and then you're describing it to them, and they're probably
Well,
just like, why? Why not just run?
If you've never seen a 3-legged race and you see it, you fall down laughing so hard because it's really funny.
Yeah.
Even a sack race is really, really funny. People falling down, falling out of their sacks, you know. But anyway, the fiesta was a success, and because we didn't do what we wanted to do, it's no big thing, so we just move on. So,
Were you a part of the religious community at that time, or
No.
because you know Catholicism is very strong and was more strong back in those days? How did you guys adjust to that if you weren't Catholics?
I was baptized Methodist, and I retained my Methodist beliefs, and but once in a while I did go to Catholic Mass, and even when I got married and my wife was Catholic, and I just told her, you know, the children's going with you, and when they're 21 they can decide if that's their religion for them. So I never had a problem with religion, and so I just think everybody should go to church on Sunday and thank the Lord for everything that we have. But there was no Protestant churches for me, and not the way I liked it. So I just did my own thing on Sundays and find a quiet place and had some solitude, and so that was what I did. So
kind of like be out in nature maybe and enjoy God's creation in beautiful Saipan. Yeah. So you started off teaching English, and I'd like to ask you to maybe talk a little bit about your classroom experience and where that led. But first, let's take a break. Okay. We'll be back after this break.
Okay.
Looking for resources about Marianas history, culture, and more? Well, check out the Northern Marianas Humanities Council's collection. Our extensive video, audio, and photographic library can be found on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at 670 Humanities. Or check out the written resources on our website at nmhcouncil.org. And for those who prefer a good book, we also have a selection of local publications for purchase. So, dive in, explore, and share your comments as we navigate the human experience together.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Kurt Barnes, former Peace Corps volunteer in the late 60s here in the Marianas. Kurt, you started off in the classroom, I think like a lot of teachers, teaching English as a second language. How was that?
Well, you know, I was trained to be a Tesla teacher, teaching English as a second language. And for people who don't know what that means I hold up a cup to my class, I say, "This is a cup." And the response should be, "That's a cup."
Okay.
And we did this for a whole class. You know,
this is a hat.
This is a hat.
That is a hat.
But they couldn't answer until I gave them the wave. That's a hat. And it wasn't really my calling in life, and so I got through it for about 4 or 5 months, and I taught PE, physical education classes at the Sean Canoa Elementary School, where I was teaching, and the principal and the district administrator for education saw my skill level was really good, so they took me down to Central Education as the physical education coordinator, and so I started coordinating PE classes. There were only like 5 or 6 elementary schools on Saipan back then. But I set up a schedule and I went to all the schools, and I would do most of the teaching myself. I acquired a pickup, and then Typhoon Jean came, and there was a lot of military equipment that was here, and a lot of it was left. So I was able to requisition about 20 mattresses, and I was able to put the 20 mattresses on the back of this pickup. I took ropes and tied them down, and I would drive to, one week I'd go to San Roque Elementary School, and I'd get all the mattresses out, lay them on the ground. Teacher would bring the class outside. I'd teach tumbling and gymnastics. I never had that before, and the kids loved it.
Yeah.
They didn't want me to leave. They wanted to stay and continue to do this, and then the next week I would go to Tenapic, and the next week Carapan, and so forth. And then
with your 20 mattresses.
Yeah, it worked out fine. And I would run workshops for all the elementary teachers on Saipan on how to teach physical education and activities to teach and how to teach them. And I had 100% attendance. I mean, I didn't do it myself. We had a lot of Peace Corps volunteers and even some indigenous people helping, and we'd all divide up first grade and what should we be teaching there, and I coordinated all this thing, and the teachers loved this. They loved it. They didn't like staying after school to do it, but once they got into it, they didn't want to go home. They wanted to continue to play games like little kids. And
yeah.
So, I had a lot of fun. I brought a lot of new ideas, and that's why I was so happy, and that's why I was accepted within the community, is because I had a skill set that nobody else had. I'm not bragging about this, but that's why I was sent to Saipan, was because I had the skill set in physical education. So And I use it to the max.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't waste my time on chit-chatting and all this kind of stuff. I brought the bacon to the table, so.
You planted a lot of seeds that are bearing fruit today, for sure. You also mentioned that you coached the first women's fast pitch softball. Or maybe it wasn't the first.
No, it wasn't
but
the
it was
first.
Definitely early women's sports.
Yeah.
What was that like, women's sports back in the 1980s?
Well,
and
I'm
60s.
I'm here to
1960s.
tell the truth, so
Tell
if
the
it
truth
offends
now.
people, I'm sorry, people, but I had heard about all the fights and all the brawls before the.
Oh wait, there were fights and brawls?
Oh,
Oh, no.
what I was told, it was
Wait,
Donnybrook.
are we talking about women, or are we talking
Yeah, we're talking about women
no.
before and after the games.
Okay.
And so one day, Felix Rebulman walked into on a Saturday, he walked into my house in District 1, and he said, "Preem, will you coach the women's fast pitch softball team?" And I go, "Sure, but no fights." And he goes, "No fights?" I go, "Absolutely, sports fights don't belong in sports. I'm sorry." So he said, "Well, I'll have to get back to you." So I said, "Okay." 3 weeks later, comes on a Saturday again. He comes into my house in District 1. He comes and sits down, and he goes, "No fights. When do we start?" And I said, "Monday. Have all the girls at Olei Elementary School." So on Monday, about 4 o'clock, I went there, and the skill level was out of this world. Those Olei women were really, really good. Most of them were around 16, 17, 18, 19. But whoever had coached them and taught them some of the skills did a wonderful job. I just gave them some new strategies and new techniques, and I didn't mess with their batting too much or their fielding. So.
Well, see, that was way before the internet and way before television, when people were actually out being active and working, physically working, and so I think that probably attributed to it also.
And then we had a pitcher that was
body
unhittable, and
the pitcher was unhittable?
Yeah,
Who was the
Maggie
pitcher?
Olapai Taitano.
Oh, yes, Auntie
Then there was a couple
Wow.
others, but they didn't play in the league for a couple of years. One was Susanna Dezabel, she was good. But there was a Frances Taro. One of the Taros that was, I had heard about it, but I never saw her play. And then I heard she moved to Guam, and then
What position did she play?
she was a pitcher. She was a
Okay.
good pitcher. And then
Okay.
she moved to, I think, San Jose, California. I've tried to contact her several times. When I wrote a book, I wanted her to be in the book. But yeah, Maggie was head and shoulders above everybody else, and she just threw so hard that we weren't going to lose many games. And then we didn't have merry-go-rounds going around the bases either. My philosophy was get the easy out. You know, if there's a runner on first and it's hit to the third baseman, get the ball over to first base and get that easy out. Forget about the runner. And if you get all the easy outs, that runner's never going to score.
This is basic softball strategy, right?
Of course it is. But you've seen it where the third baseman gets the ball, throws it to second, throws it out in right field.
Oh,
the right
no.
picks it up and throws it to third and throws it into the stand. You see, that's a merry-go-round. And we never did that at Olei. Never, ever did we have merry-go-rounds out there. They got the easy outs all the time. Of course, they did. Some people couldn't hit the ball anyway, so but they were strikeouts. So.
Now, I'm thinking back in those days, not everybody had cleats.
No, a lot of them were barefoot, a lot of them had just tennis shoes. They all had jeans on, though. And since it was on Sundays, almost all the teams wore white shirts, white, like dress shirts, and jeans. Or I guess it was dark, or black jeans type thing.
Okay.
That was basically uniform. I didn't even look at that. I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
So.
You said that you have some interesting stories related to the Micronesian games.
Yeah, I do.
Little anecdotes, color commentary.
Yeah.
Because you were a key part of starting the
I
games.
started the Micronesian games. I was the
with-
founding father, but along with, I couldn't do it myself. Al Snyder, he was a lawyer for the Peace Corps.
Okay.
He was, his communication skills were impeccable. And he was the general secretary. Felix Verbalman was a member of Congress of Micronesia. And he got Congress of Micronesia behind the Micronesian Games,
okay.
and all the districts were getting excited about it. Never had all the districts come together for any kind of an activity, whether it was sports or government or other than the Congress of Micronesia, but I'm talking about the common people. And we're able to bring 75 from each district here to Saipan. No problems, no fights, no arguments in the games. It was just pure fun, and it just was so smooth. Well, anyway, we had a cement pedestal built at Public Works, and it was about 6 to 8 feet tall. It was 4 sides to it, and somebody found an old oil pan from an airplane in the boonies. I guess it was either tin or aluminum or stainless steel or something, and it was at the right shape of a really nice dish to sit on top of this pedestal.
Which is sounding like a
And so we
bloody
did that.
stone.
And the night before the Micronesian Games were supposed to be commenced, somebody said maybe we should test this. And so Felix, Ben Fitiel, Governor Fitiel, Al Snyder, a couple other people went out to the track, and they put some stuff in the cauldron and put kerosene in it, and they lit it, and the thing melted. Melted into just a little ball of metal. And now, can you imagine this the next day with the High Commissioner there and all the dignitaries from all the different districts? And what are we going to do? So Felix and Ben says, well, we know what we're going to do. So they got everybody into a car and a truck, and they went to Olei village and into the boonies someplace. And they found this great big cooking pot. It was, you've seen them, they're like that. You cook outside on it. It was all black.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they picked that up and threw it in the pickup truck, and they took it back to the track and put it up on the pedestal. And that was the cauldron. And so they took clothes and toilet paper, rolls of toilet paper, put it in and doused it with kerosene and just waited for the next day.
This was the track where the track is now in
Yeah,
Olei?
it's about the same.
About
It is the same place,
okay.
but it was a little different angle. So.
Yeah.
And it was a coral track. It was rolled and wetted and rolled and wetted and rolled, and it was real smooth. There was no rocks on it. It was pretty fast. And then we took, since it was white, we took old discarded motor oil, and we took this great big 55-gallon drum of oil, and we dipped little coffee cans in there, and we walked around the track and put the lanes down. I mean, it took us hours to do this, and the lanes were kind of like this. It didn't matter. Nobody cared. It was the first time we're going to do this. And you ignore a lot of this stuff because the aesthetics is more important than the specifics of that track. So that's what.
And look at us today.
So another thing is we lit a fire at Mount Tapachow. We call Tapachow Mount Olympus. And a couple people stayed up there. There was like Vicky Gattal and P.D. Gattal and a couple of gentlemen stayed up there at night and babied the fire and made sure it stayed out on fire the whole night. And the next morning I took about 20 little elementary kids. They all were dressed in white t-shirts and blue shorts, and about 2 or 3 cars, and we went up there to Tapachow and took we had a torch that was made in Public Works, made out of either brass or copper or something. It was really nice, just like a regular torch in the Olympics. And we lit that, and then the little kids started running the torch down Capitol Hill, Tapachow, Capitol Hill. It's just a wonderful, beautiful sight to see this. And so I've got a Jeep, and I had a walkie-talkie, and I call Al Snyder, who was down at the track, and I said, "Hey Al, this is the greatest thing you'll ever see. These kids were bringing this torch down the hill. He goes, no, it's not. There's 5,000 people waiting for you. You know, and we didn't know that there was that many people who knew what was going to happen, and there was a lot of apathy, but 5,000 people were waiting for us. So it was off and running. No more problems after that. So,
if there's one thing that you would want people to recognize or to remember about those days and what you guys contributed, what would it be?
You know, that one of the themes of this Peace Corps reunion is what we Peace Corps volunteers brought and taught the local people. Well, it doesn't work that way. It's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. I mean, we probably learned more from the local people and their culture, certainly the language and the culture, but we also learned some of the intangibles, like getting along with people, rolling with people, being low-key, don't have a hemorrhage over every time things don't go right. You know, what the island mentality. I think we got more from the people. And if we didn't get this, guess what? I wouldn't be sitting here right now. If I didn't, it's a two-way street. And I think all the people, we've talked about that among ourselves, and we all agree that it's a two-way street. And if we didn't get something in return, we wouldn't have come back. There would have been no reason to come back. But because we couldn't wait to get here, we love this place. And so,
I think you used the word ecstatic about how you felt.
ecstatic?
Ecstatic.
Yeah, well, that's a word I use on special things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was ecstatic being here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time, taking time from your reunion to talk story with us and share with us some treasures, some nuggets that maybe we weren't aware of before.
You are special. You do a great job getting information out to the local people. And this is not the first time I've talked to you.
Right.
And every time I come, it's a new experience, and it's a different experience, and more knowledge gets dispersed to the local people. And
what is the name of your book, by the way, for those that might be interested?
My book, I wrote it in 2013. It's called Sports Legends of Micronesia, from 1969 to 2013. The problem is, even I don't have a copy. I mean, a lot of people still want copies, and there are no copies.
Wow.
I'm having to go back to friends I have in the States and ask for the copy back. And my son told me a couple of days ago, don't do that, you gave it to them. I said, but they're getting old and they die, and their kids come and throw the book in the garbage can. I can't have that. He said, well, don't ask them for it back. So
if anybody wants to volunteer their book back to you,
of course,
Sports Legends of Micronesia, or donate it to the local library.
Nobody's going to do that. But if you do, take it to my son at Atkins Kroll, and he'll gladly take it. But I don't have one. I can't give you one, so I don't have my own copy.
So if we find it, we're very lucky.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I have been asked to rewrite another book.
Oh, okay.
And I'm seriously thinking about it. I'm trying to decide if I can do that, living in Sacramento, California. And there would have to be some differences this time versus the first time I did it. So,
kind of like our chat today. We talked about some stuff today that we didn't talk about last time. Thank you for that.
Yeah. There's still so many stories that people haven't heard, and they should. And so, I mean, everybody's got stories. So.
Thank you so much.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It certainly is.
We've been chatting today with Kurt Barnes. He's a former Peace Corps volunteer in the late 60s here in the Marianas. Basically, he is from the Marianas now, here in 2025. This has been Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
Your Humanities Half Hour has been made possible in part by a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Democracy demands wisdom. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities. For more information or to share your thoughts, contact the Northern Marianas Humanities Council at nmhcouncil.org or on social media at 670 Humanities. That's 670 Humanities.